I don't really give a crap whether you're more vegan or more carnivore. The truth of the matter is that there will be a customized and personalized diet that will set you free if you take the time to find it. The most important aspect of a healing diet is customization and iteration. Anything else is biased, cookie cutter, and leads to horrible results. For those of you who don't know, I used to be covered in seborrheic dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, and rosacea, and I had major immune issues. I had IBS. I was a mess. Doctors and their medications made me way worse, and dermatologists only offered me drugs and basically told me that there was no chance I would ever heal my skin. So I was left on my own to figure things out. I turned to diet among many other things, and after some time, it actually worked. I started with the vegan approach. Then I iterated to keto. Then I iterated to carnivore. Then I iterated to the lion diet. Then I iterated back to the carnivore diet, then finally customizing and iterating back at an animal-based diet where I've been for several years. So what's the common theme? Customization and iteration. I want you guys to check out this little chart. So your starting diet can be inspired by data, reading, or other people's success. That's totally fine. It's just your starting diet. From there, you're gonna create a baseline and start the process. Then from there, you're gonna move on to being consistent. And this is one of the keys to having a correct healing diet that works. From there, here's where you're gonna have to be really, really honest with yourself and the results that you're getting. You're gonna look at the data honestly. Then you're gonna iterate and refine. Then you're gonna test foods and repeat the refining process. You're looking at the data of how the foods are working for you. Then you're gonna make some changes, take some foods away, add some food ins, test and retest in this phase. Once you get to a place where your biomarkers are really great and they're really consistent and you are enjoying your health and the results, you wanna stay in this place and repeat the process as much as you need to moving forward to test all the foods you ever want to. My friends, it's actually that simple. The customization and iteration process, I could stop the video right there, and if you just follow the chart over and over again and you're honest with your results, you're gonna do better than any cookie cutter diet there is, and I'm talking carnivore, vegan, lion, all of them. The customization and iteration process led me like a stairway to heaven to the deepest levels of my healing and my health. For those of you who don't know, I have been eczema free for over a decade. I've been a skin health coach for about 10 years. I've worked with thousands and thousands of people. This is my life work. Most people have dieting all wrong. That's why hardly anyone heals their skin and keeps their skin healthy for life. Here's part of the problem. Human beings, we're just biased individuals. We really want to prove that our beliefs are right. We'd rather prove ourselves to be right than actually do the right thing. And here's some of the things that I hear being echoed in the interwebs all the time. Pure carnivore diet will cure everybody. Pure lion diet is the best thing for all people. If you're not keto and you're eating sugar and carbs, you're never going to heal. Some other things that you hear is that cholesterol is bad, that if you're not vegan, you're never gonna heal, that the raw vegan diet is the only thing that will ever heal people, and if you're cooking your food, you're basically wasting your time. The funny thing is that every single one of these beliefs and viewpoints is ass backwards and totally wrong, because none of them account for the vast individuality and differences that each one of us has. The diets that you've been on, the place that you grew up, your traumas, your psychology, your emotional place. Where's your digestion? What are your genetics? When you customize and iterate the diet correctly, guess what? You don't have to guess anymore. You basically ask your body what's working the best for it. And if you pay attention, which I'm going to cover in this video a little bit, your body's going to tell you exactly what works. With the truth. Facts work better than beliefs and bias every single time. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that a strict lion diet doesn't work for some people, because it does. It doesn't mean that there isn't anybody in the world who's thriving on a plant-based diet. because there is. It also doesn't mean that carbs are bad or that cholesterol and fats are your enemy. What it does mean though is that for a majority of people looking to heal their skin like I did and some of my clients do, there's something missing from all of those approaches. It's nuance, details, iterations based on data, customization, and individualization. So here's the thing, guys. Things change. You can't be bullheaded when you're trying to heal your skin or heal your body. You have to keep an open mind, and you do have to iterate whenever it is needed, no matter what. And I'm going to illustrate this with a story many of you guys have heard. So I used to be vegan, and I was vegan for 8 years. That's the diet that when I first healed my skin, I was utilizing. Problem is that after a few years, that diet stopped working. And by 8 years in, I was an absolute mess on the vegan diet. My testosterone was totally shot. I was pooping like 5 times a day. My digestion was all over the place. I was sleeping horrible. My mood wasn't good. I had major brain fog. I had oral hygiene issues. The vegan diet was a disaster long-term for me personally. And the problem is that during that time, I was super biased. I had a bunch of beliefs that this is the diet that I healed myself on. This is the diet that's going to work. All of the people in my community are right, and I must be doing something wrong, so I'll just stick with it. Also, there was a fear. I admit I was fully afraid that if I stopped being vegan, if I stopped doing what had worked, that my skin health would go to crap. And the truth of the matter is that if I would have stayed vegan, sorry for picking my nose, I would have had all of my eczema and all of my skin health issues and all of my health issues. They would have come back in a major way. What finally was the straw that broke the camel's back was I had a very unfortunate incident. My partner at the time was pregnant with our first child, and the baby died. We had a miscarriage. My partner was vegan. I was vegan. And I won't get into that whole story, but the baby did not make it because of the issues that my partner had at the time being plant-based vegan. So that made me took a very hard look at myself and what I was doing. And what I realized is that I needed to get back to the system that actually healed my skin in the first place: iteration and customization. So what I did is I started to journal my biomarkers. And your biomarkers are things like your sex drive, your sleep, your daily poops, inflammation, your mood, muscularity, body weight. On the vegan diet, I had dropped all the way down to like 150 pounds. And right now, I'm not trying to gain weight or lose weight. I'm just at my baseline, and I'm 183 pounds without trying. So I was grossly underweight, and it wasn't like I was underweight and shredded. I was skinny fat. I had a little pooch belly. Things were just not good. So my comeback story and my customization process and my iteration process started right there. I first started eating some animal foods, and I decided that the keto approach would be a good place to start the iteration and customization process, just like that chart. So I picked a starting diet, keto. Quickly, through some experimentation and adding and taking away foods, I moved to a carnivore diet. The carnivore diet had its ups and downs, but it worked really good. And then I iterated that into the lion diet. Once I kind of mastered the lion diet, I iterated back to a carnivore diet. Then that quickly iterated and customized based on my data and my honest looking at how my results were into an animal-based diet with a good amount of variety, which is where I've been for several years. Now, my skin never went back to being unhealthy, which I thank God for. And at this point, after 5 years on an animal-based diet, my overall health is way better. My fitness is way better than it was when I was 29. Another story to illustrate this point even further is my buddy Tanil. Tanil used to be a devout vegan like I was. He was plant-based. He did some raw dieting. He did the whole shebang. And he was following this belief because he believed in it, and he had followed influencers who are charismatic, and so he had a bias. I want the vegan diet. I want the vegan approach to work for me to heal my skin. Guess what? For Tanil, it didn't work at all. His skin never healed, and he was a skinny, unhealthy mess of a man. So what did he decide to do? He decided to use my system to customize his diet and iterate. And lo and behold, started eating some animal foods, started figuring out exactly what worked for him based on his body's feedback and data, and boom, gained muscle, gained weight, got his hormones back, and healed his skin. Now, I know both of these examples are from a vegan bias to a database truth bias that actually worked, but that's not the point, because the same thing happens to carnivore diets and paleo dieters as well. Anytime you're following a cookie cutter diet that works for somebody else and you're not customizing it, you most likely are gonna fail. So I'm working with a client currently. He wants to remain anonymous because he's kind of a high profile dude, but this guy is a huge fan of Dr. Sean Baker, which Dr. Sean Baker is a rad dude. He's honest. His carnivore diet works perfectly for him. He's honest with his results. He shows his body fat, his body weight, his strength gains. He talks about it all the time. He talks about his little iterations. He's doing what works for him. Problem is the client that I'm working with thought that if I just follow Dr. Sean Baker's diet exactly, that it will work for me too. And that's not the case. A year of strict carnivore dieting made his skin even worse than it was when he started. It also led to some weird digestion issues, really bad sleep, and his testosterone literally plummeted from a pretty good 650-ish, 600, 650-ish, all the way down to 250, which is really not good for someone who's eating enough protein, working out, and caring about their health as much as this client does. So we had to break some dogma, we had to break some biases, and what we started doing is we first brought in some fruit. So we kind of went to the meat and fruit approach, meat and fruit diet. That worked pretty good, but still there was some data that wasn't quite where we wanted it to be. So we iterated more. We brought in some raw milk, we brought in some honey, we even brought in a few fibrous plant foods like zucchini, avocados. And guess what? He got very consistent with that approach. His body was responding really well. So we continued with it with consistency. We kept monitoring his biomarkers and his data. And guess what? His testosterone is great. His sleep is wonderful. His strength in the gym is off the charts. His mood is amazing. His sex drive is amazing. And best thing of all, his skin is starting to heal. Like day by day, it's getting better and better and better. No bias, just facts. That's what's working with all three of these stories. Customization and iteration of the diet is the number one key factor for long-term healing. Nothing diet related is more important than those two things. Down in the description box, for those of you who need or want a little bit more implementation knowledge about how to customize a diet with the biomarkers and the entire healing system that I use, I will link a super detailed step-by-step video that covers the entire healing process, the lifestyle, the cleansing, and the diet. Also, for those of you who are looking to have some implementation help, either through the private coaching that I offer or the online group and the course, those will also be linked down in the description box. Here's the cool thing. It literally doesn't matter what your starting diet is when you're trying to heal. As long as you follow the approach of customization and iteration properly, and you're honest with your results, and you keep track of your data and your biomarkers, the body is going to lead you to the perfect diet that's individualized and works really great for you. Like it did for me, like it did for Tanil, and like it did with the anonymous client that I'm working with right now. You may be asking yourself at this point, okay, Rob, we kind of get it. You're beating a dead horse pretty hard. How the hell do you actually customize and iterate? And I want to jump into that because there's 8 key factors that you will need to play with and need to master in order to customize and iterate your diet all the way. Once people do these 8 things consistently with honest effort, they make huge jumps in their skin health and their overall health every single time. So will you. So I'm going to go over what these 8 things are. I'm going to list them out for you. And then I'm going to go back one by one and kind of unpack them so you have a lot more detail and nuance with this video and with this approach. I really want this to be something that makes sense to you guys. If you're confused at all so far, leave any of your questions and comments down below. I'll do my best to get to them in this video. Also, link down in the description box will be some good data points for you guys and some references to take a look at that will expand on these ideas even further. So take a look at them. So number one, I've mentioned it already, but it doesn't matter what your starting diet is, but you want it to be super simple, based on all whole foods, foods that are not trigger foods, and we want to set a clear baseline. That's number one. Number two, your biomarkers and not your symptoms will be your guide. So number three, move slowly and do not rush the process. This is one of the hardest things for people to grasp and to master. Number four, your journal is going to be your best friend, because that's where you're going to write down the truth and the data of what your body is telling you and what your biomarkers are telling you. Number five, skin health and healing will follow your biomarkers. I've repeated this one because it's that important. Number six, test, repeat, test, repeat, test, repeat. That's the iteration process. And number seven, consistency is everything. It truly is. More on that later. And number eight, enjoy your new home and repeat this process and go back to the beginning testing phase as much as you need to. When you use the customization and iteration process properly, what it does is it gives you a diet that is very sustainable, that tastes really good, that has some variety, and that actually works. Let's go back to that list and unpack things just a little bit. I want to give you a lot more detail. So number one, it doesn't matter what your starting diet is. So if you want to start keto, cool. If you want to start lion diet, perfectly fine. If you want to start with just a general animal-based diet, knock yourself out. Hell, even if you want to start plant-based or vegan, do your thing. The entire point of number one, the starting place, is to create a baseline so we can see where we're actually at and then leverage our biomarkers and test foods to change that baseline in an upward manner. So that's all you really have to do for number one. So number two, your biomarkers, not the symptoms, will be your guide. So I want to go a little deeper into this. Most people trying to heal their skin are constantly looking at their flare-ups. They go, I ate this food on Monday and then on Tuesday I had a flare-up. That means this food doesn't work. Unfortunately, when you have eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, and rosacea, it's a systemic immune system issue. That means that anything good or bad that triggers your autoimmune response, your fight or flight response, the autonomic nervous system, has a chance to give you a flare-up. During the year that I healed my skin, 11-ish years ago, I was having flare-ups like crazy for the first 3 months. Then the second 3 months, not so bad. Then the next 3 months into month 9, up and down. Then month 10, it was like I had perfect skin and everything was good to go. And then month 11 rolled around and boom, I did a coffee enema. I released a huge mucoid plaque and I had the biggest flare-up of my entire life. Strangely enough, it went away in about 2 weeks and that was the last flare-up I ever had. Why did this happen? This happens because until the root issue, which is the autonomic nervous system, is fully healed, the skin will flare up and be fine and be up and down for most people. The reason why I was able to go from month 1 to month 12 and then have success and stay skin healthy, or skin disease free rather, for this many years is because I followed my biomarkers. I stopped worrying completely about what my skin was looking like and I focused 100% on the data and the facts and the truth of, okay, my digestion is getting better, my hormones are getting better, I'm getting leaner and more muscular, I have more energy, I'm sleeping good, my sex drive is back, my brain fog is gone, and those are my biomarkers. And even though my skin wasn't perfect, my biomarkers were improving every single month. And like I said earlier in the video, your skin and your health will always follow your biomarkers. It just takes time. That leads to number 3, moving slowly and don't rush the process. One of the things that separates all of the clients that I've worked with who've healed compared to the clients I've worked with who have not healed is kind of one thing: consistency over big blocks of time. Whether it takes you 3 months to heal or 9 months to heal or a year and a half to heal, you're going to have to stay consistent with your customized diet and your healthy lifestyle forever in order to keep your skin healthy and to keep yourself healthy and vibrant and live a long life anyway. If you rush the process, you're going to fall into that distracted, chasing the magic bullet, the shiny object, having biases, having dogmas, and trying to speed up the process will mess you up every single time. I've talked about this in other videos, but the marathon approach is something that we deeply, deeply teach with my private clients and in the skin health community that I run and that I organize. If you have a marathon approach, you know that the battle, you know that the process is going to take a really freaking long time. And guess what? You're cool with it. You're expecting it to take a long time. So the fact that it takes a long time, that's okay. We're not trying to heal as fast as possible. We're trying to get healthy and stay that way forever. If you're trying to heal as fast as possible, you're going to find out that really fast, you're just going to keep failing. Number 4, your journal will be your best friend. You don't have to be obsessive about counting calories and writing all your food down every single day, but a journal a few times per week, writing down your biomarkers, meaning your sleep, your sex drive, all the stuff I've talked about in this video already, and giving it some type of personal system so you can keep track of your data and look back. Because remember, step 1 is creating a baseline. And if your baseline is like sleep is a 2 out of 10 and mood is like a 1 out of 10 and digestion is like a 3 out of 10, that's your baseline. And in month 6, if you look back at your journal, or if you look at your journal and all of those numbers have increased to 5s and 6s and 7s, you know you're in the right place. But if you just haphazardly try out different foods and never write any data down, you're going to get into the process, the long process, month 6, month 9, year 1. And if you have nothing, no data to look back on, you have no way to judge your biomarker progress, and you will get confused and you will get lost and you will become unorganized, frustrated, and you'll fall back into whatever diet and lifestyle got you here in the first place. So make sure you have a journal and make sure you do it in your own way. Make sure you're consistent with it. Again, you don't have to obsess about it, but jotting down your data so that you have something to reference is ultra important. Without it, you probably won't make it. Number 5 is a repeater. Because it's this important, your skin health will follow your biomarkers. I already told you the story about my year of healing, the ups and downs. The other thing I can throw in here is there are linear and non-linear healers, meaning some people are lucky, like Cody. Month 1, he got a little better. Month 2, he got even better. Month 3, his skin was almost all the way healed. 90 days in, he was like 99% healed, and he stayed that way forever. That's a linear healer. It just happens block by block by block, and we're just reading the data quickly and making the adjustments in the right way. Then there's people like me who are non-linear healers, and most of you guys will fall into this category where your skin health, the symptoms will be up and down in every single which way. It'll be very frustrating, and that will cause most people to just give up. But if you really pay attention to this video and you understand that the biomarkers are the key and that your skin will follow the biomarkers, you can cut most of the stress out and you'll have a light at the end of the tunnel to always be moving towards. Biomarkers. Number 6, test and repeat, test and repeat, test and repeat. This is the iteration process. What that really means is once you've created that baseline, once you are starting to get the biomarkers in the right place, once you are stable and you've been eating kind of the same diet with small adjustments, and maybe you want to start testing foods, you have a process to fall back on, the iteration process. So I bring in potatoes for the month and my biomarkers go to shit. Okay, well, we know that potatoes aren't going to work for us. Boom, we take the potatoes out. That's the iteration process. It's test, repeat, test, repeat. Number 7, consistency is everything. The only reason I've had the success that I've had with my skin health and my overall health is because I've been ultra consistent with all of my practices. My workouts, my meditations, my mindfulness practices, my psychological work, my spiritual work, and of course, my diet. All of it has been consistent. I'm not a Nazi about anything. I'm not anal retentive, but I'm ultra consistent with all of my practices. If you have a really hard time being consistent, it probably means one of two things. One is you're trying to follow a diet that's biased and dogmatic, and you're not giving yourself enough variety. And if you haven't customized the diet enough yet, you don't know what your variety even can be. The whole key of this is not to just eat meat for the rest of your life. Maybe some of you would like to do that, but I find that kind of boring. Most people find that impossible. The key is to have a very specific diet that has plenty of variety, that also tastes good, so that you can be consistent with it forever. And number 8 is kind of a joke, but it's enjoy your new home. So once you get to the place where you've been grappling with this for 6 months or a year, and you really have a great handle on being consistent, and it's fun and it's flowing, enjoy it. Enjoy your health. It will help your skin. It will help your relationships. And always know that in your back pocket, you have an awesome tool set that if you want to try out some new foods or you want to try out some new macros, and for those of you who don't know what macros is, it's just the amount of carbs, protein, and fat that are in your diet. You can do so without being afraid of it messing up your skin, because you have your journal and you have your biomarkers and you have a long history of being consistent. So you can open up and make the diet as varied as you want, because you have the ability to test every single food under the sun and understand without dogma if it actually works for you or it does not. So again, I'm going to reiterate this point. I am going to beat the dead horse. Over my 10 years of coaching human beings with their skin health, worked with thousands of people, literally, there is one thing that separates the people who heal from the people who don't, that's even beyond the details of this video. Those who stay consistent long enough and follow their biomarkers get healthy skin and have an absolutely huge transition and transformation with their overall health and their entire life. Consistency and staying with the healthy diet for life is what separates those who make it from those who don't. Don't give up before the miracle has a chance to take place, my friends. I hope this kind of weird and detailed video makes sense to you guys. Again, leave your questions and comments down below. Down in the description box, for those of you who need or want a little bit more implementation knowledge about how to customize a diet with the biomarkers and the entire healing system that I use, I will link a super detailed step-by-step video that covers the entire healing process, the lifestyle, the cleansing, and the diet. Also, for those of you who are looking to have some implementation help, either through the private coaching that I offer or the online group and the course, those will also be linked down in the description box. Honestly, guys, I have nothing but love for you, and I wish you the best on your journey. I don't really give a crap whether you're more vegan or more carnivore. The truth of the matter is that there will be a customized and personalized diet that will set you free if you take the time to find it. I wish you guys luck. I'll see you on the other side.